All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the webinar. I'm going to start us off with a few logistical items, provide a quick overview of Index.io, and then we'll dive right into the presentation. This will be a 20-minute presentation. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please place them into the chat window and we'll address them at the end. We will be recording this, and the link to the recording will be included in the follow-up email. So as you probably know, the legal world is facing many challenges with electronic discovery. Data accessibility, scalability, management, and overwhelming costs, to name just a few. Data continues to increase in size exponentially, and old solutions are failing to keep up, but we can help. Welcome to Index.io, a new horizon of corporate data indexing that takes the latest technologies and creates the most comprehensive and advanced electronic discovery tool in the industry. Built from scratch in the cloud, Index.io is fast, effective, and secure, making it the obvious choice for your electronic discovery needs. Although Index.io covers the full e-discovery waterfront, we deliver way more in value and capabilities. Index.io is a true do-it-yourself intuitive platform. You can get up and running in minutes without ever talking to a sales rep or ever utilizing a project manager. Next, Index.io's auto-scale technology cuts traditional processing times from days to minutes while ensuring quick, accurate results every time. With unmatched search speeds, you always have instant access to the critical items you need for your case. We also offer a free mobile iPad app. With this easy, intuitive, and secure app, you can review, code, redact, and organize your e-discovery documents no matter where you are. Your work is automatically reflected in Index.io, and you are always in sync with your project. And finally, Index.io is the only e-discovery solution that provides a daily hosting model. This allows for more predictable billing, easier project management, and eliminates minimum hosting charges. There are no long-term restricting contracts, no licensing fees, no user fees, and no minimums per month. Additionally, there is no software or special hardware to purchase. For today's presentation, we'll be talking to John Myers with one of our premier partners, Chorus Consulting. You'll learn how they leverage Index.io's e-discovery platform and a major product defect liability investigation. You'll also learn about collection challenges, data transfer, document review, foreign language, and data analytics. Austin, a support representative here at Index.io, is going to lead this discussion with John today. Austin?
All right, thanks for that intro, Jess, and thanks everybody for joining us today. We're here with John Myers from Chorus Consulting. John, can you start us off and just give us a quick overview of Chorus?
Sure, Austin, thanks. So Chorus, we're a Houston-based consulting firm that we specialize in electronic stored information, cyber forensic services, expert testimony, litigation e-discovery, data security and compliance, data transformation, and information governance. We were founded back in 2003, and our team consists of a bunch of professionals that came from larger consulting firms. We've been involved in some of the largest fraud investigations, complex litigation, and information governance projects over the last couple of years. Being that we came from a larger consulting firms, we believe that our clients really needed to have a more focused and personalized attention, and so we formed the company back in '03. Many of the consulting firms or vendors that are in the industry these days, we believe, have lost that client-centric focus, and we really try to become trusted advisors to many of our clients.
All right, so focus more on like smaller clients then, try to be more of a, a personalized experience for everyone.
Yeah, for us, it doesn't make a difference whether the client is large or small. I mean, we've done work for firms as small as 2 or 3 attorneys, and we've actually done work for some of the AM 100s. So it doesn't really make a difference for us. It's that more personalized attention.
Gotcha. And what's your role within the company?
So my role, I'm the managing director of the company. I'm really just responsible for the overall direction and the operations. But just because I kind of sit in an administrative role, I'm actually an active practitioner, mentor, and expert testifier.
And how many years have you been involved in the e-discovery space?
Austin, that's going to reveal a little bit of gray hair I have. I've been working in the industry since 1988, and I think I could probably be regarded as maybe one of the industry's veterans.
Yeah, almost 30 years of experience in the field. That's quite a lot, and I'm sure that things have changed a lot since back in the late 80s, early 90s. What kind of challenges have you guys seen develop as the space has changed?
Austin, it's been very interesting. We've experienced kind of the whole evolution of the e-discovery process from its inception. Back in the day, we used to deal with, simple coded databases, and we refer a user or a paralegal just to a room or a shelf or a box, maybe even a folder of paper. Today, those simplistic databases to manage paper or even the small litigations, it's evolved to digital documents, computing devices, cloud environments, and all of this data that needs to be extracted and managed. With users becoming a little more sophisticated in the way they're storing information, or actually in some cases how they're trying to hide it. Our challenge is always trying to, find how to extract it, synthesize it, analyze it, and get it to the attorneys or actually the individuals that are looking to really look at that information.
And you guys have been using the Index.io platform to kind of assist with a lot of this. How long have you been working with Index.io?
So Chorus has been a partner with you guys since 2015, and it's been very, very enjoyable.
What made you go with our company over all the other options? I know there's a lot of software in the e-discovery space. What kind of stood out as far as our features and just options?
So, being that we've been in the industry, so long, we've tested and we've used a lot of different platforms over the years. We prefer to use and recommend your platform, the Index.io platform, really because of the ease of use, the processing capabilities, and all the overall features that are currently in the product, and even some of the ones that we've kind of been told that are forthcoming in future builds. Additionally, we respect the responsiveness that we get when things just don't seem to go right, and as much as we all like to think that everything's perfect and everything works well, those times that we do have to call upon y'all, it could be the middle of the night. You and your team have always been great in terms of responsiveness. The other thing that's nice too is that yourself and the whole Index.io team, is very, very receptive to feature enhancements, emergency production issues, and really just enhancing capabilities for specific project needs.
Yeah, we really pride ourselves on support here. We definitely get a lot of feedback about just support being available and having easy to read tutorials and how-to videos to get everybody caught up on the system. So it's nice that you point that out.
Yeah, the thing is, what's really nice too is, to that very specific point is, it's nice to be in the platform and have the chat option available, and to get to you instantaneously, or if you're not, it's obviously it sends an email response up there, and the responsiveness is. I've got other technology people I work with. It takes them days to get back to us, and really I equate it to your responsiveness and support is really in the minutes. So
yeah, we try to keep that first response under an hour usually. So I understand you have this case you worked on in our system recently. Why don't you tell me a little bit about just kind of some background on that case? Sure.
So the project that comes to mind that we really kind of feature here is, it was a very large international it was a internal investigation for a large multinational corporation. The investigation was related to a class action personal injury product liability litigation here in U.S. federal court. The client wanted to assess and ascertain a couple of things about what was happening inside their organization. They wanted to understand if there was in fact an issue, which is always important. If there was an issue, where it originated from, the extent of the issue in terms of the product deficiencies, and who all may have known about what had gone on. So, our efforts took us globally on this, even though the main company or the headquarters here in the U.S. So we ended up embarked on an international and global collection. So we ended up collecting from about 6 locations throughout the U.S. and Asia. Doesn't sound like a lot, but we'll get into the specifics here a little bit. All told, when we collected from all the custodians and from corporate, we had nearly 100 terabytes worth of data.
It's a lot of data.
Yeah. and collecting all that and bringing it back and putting it into an environment where it can be synthesized down to some manageable amount it's got some challenges. So we took that 100 tera and did a little bit of pre-culling on the front end before we put it up in the platform. But the net result was we still ended up with nearly 3.5 terabytes of relevant information and data that we needed to load up into the Index.io platform. And that's loading it and having it processed, doing some the basic QC for exceptions and managing all that, and it went very, very well. We were very pleased with the overall responsiveness of the system and how we were able to make all this data flow. So once we finalized the data set and we loaded everything in Index.io for our investigative team to work with, this is really where the investigation kind of got energized. Our investigator team was split between here in North America and the other half was over in Asia. This allowed for us to basically work on a 24-hour investigative cycle. As one set of investigators would retire for the evening, the other set of investigators was able to take over. So this allowed kind of an accelerated ability to explore really the different facets that the client was asking for us to look at for the project. So when it was all said and done, our team was able to identify communications and documents that tracked down, believe it or not, to the actual source of the issue to a single individual. And while the documents were created and modified by this one individual, other communications suggested that they were pressured into adjusting the contents of the documents. And ultimately, in the end, the management of the company was pleased with the overall investigation because it was looking to make some other changes internally. And this kind of drove home for them that they really needed to look at where some of their efforts were happening for their products that would potentially reduce this in the future. And having the Index.io platform allow us to work globally like that with our investigative team was just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, being that it's a cloud-based, all in one location, we have free user access, so you can get a whole big team in there and work on it pretty much any time. Seems like a great fit for that case. So you said initially you had about 100 terabytes down to about 3.5. That 3.5 that got loaded in, what was that process like? About how long did that take to get into the Index.io system?
So this is really kind of where I'd say that the Index.io system really kind of shines with its its auto scalability and everything. And you've asked the exact question. Great, you got 3.5 tera. How long does that did it take us to get all that in? Believe it or not, from the initial time that we started loading custodians to the time that we loaded the last set of custodian data, the whole process in terms of processing everything only took about 48 hours in your system.
48 hours, so about 2 days for 3.5 terabytes to get in. That's pretty quick.
Yeah, it actually is very quick. And what we attributed that to was the fact that because your system has got its auto scaling capabilities, the system was able to bring online additional processing power as it started to sense this large volume of data being we threw it at you.
Yeah, it was in there, and then our servers, that's what they do. We're monitoring, and everything happens automatically. It's going to see that data, scale things up. Day or night, whenever you're in there working, this all happens on the back end automated. And that's really, I think, something that I hear from our clients a lot is just the scalability and the speed at which you can get data in.
We've worked with a lot of other systems in the past, and this volume of data would have been probably 2 or 3 weeks worth of processing time. And in your case, no, it was there and it was available, which allowed us on the front end, obviously, to kind of take care of all the technical stuff, and then it allowed the investigating team to come online quicker as opposed to waiting around for all the data to be processed.
So what other features of Index.io really were key to this project?
So global access. given that we had, the different geographic locations of our team members, they were able to access the data globally. This is just tremendous, so that we didn't have to have everybody kind of sitting in one centralized data facility, reviewing these documents. The other thing that was nice about it too is that as we started to identify documents that we wanted our clients to look at, the ultimate client themselves, instead of exporting the data out and moving it around, we were able to grant them access, and they were able to look at the specific documents we were referring to and give us clarifications there. So there was no delays in copying data to media and moving it around. So that's probably one of the other key features. Another one that was really key for us, and it's a feature that your system has, and we don't use it a lot, but it's the on the fly, or the
on-demand translation.
On-demand translation. A lot of the documents we were dealing with were in foreign languages, and we were able to use the internal ability, capability to translate some of those documents for us. Our team did consist of native speaking language for those documents, but having the ability to translate on the fly and kind of get a good sense of what the document is saying, proved to be invaluable and really cost effective. Because sometimes, our investigators were able to look at a document and, based upon the content that was translated out, sit there and say, yes, this is potentially relevant, or no, we really just need to move on from there. And then the other, really, I'd say the hitting home feature that we really like, and I know that you all mentioned it, is really ease of use. For this project, several of our colleagues are just really not that tech savvy. They are professionals with investigative and financial and other subject matter expertise, but their technical capabilities sometimes to open a browser and things like that, it seems like it's a little bit of a challenge for them, but they get through it. But we're able to train, not only, our internal personnel, our investigators, but even the client in a very short period of time. So that not only they're able to review the data in the system, but they're able to even, conduct searches and tag the documents. And we've even gotten some of them where they kind of get that rudimentary training. We give them a little bit more advanced training, but we don't go too deep with them, but they're able to. I was very surprised that some of our investigators picked up on some of the advanced searching capabilities too. And I attribute it to a couple of things. Number one, the power of the system. And then number two, the ease of use and the intuitiveness that allows them to do that.
Yeah, I think you hit on probably the two things we really strive for. There's speed and ease of use. It's designed to be intuitive. Like you said, just figuring out how that advanced search worked kind of intuitively. That's exactly what we hope people run across. So do you have anything you would maybe want to say to anyone considering Indexed.io as a platform? Any recommendations or just anything that you want to say?
Day in and day out, Austin, we've probably got no less than a dozen projects in your platform right now. And the way that you all have architected the platform, the way that you've priced the platform, the way that you've made it easy for not only your partners, but ultimately even for the end users to use it. It's one of those things where to throw a project up in your platform is almost a no risk. Put it in there, run it, enjoy the platform and work with it. And what I think people find is that when they do that, that they may really seriously consider that anything else they've used in the past is maybe a little antiquated or maybe too much or too complicated for the projects that they're trying to work on these days. So really, if I had to say one thing in a short sentence is, jump in and let the platform assist you in doing your work.
Yeah, absolutely. And we offer free trial projects. So when you sign up for an account, you're going to be able to process up to 5 gigs of data, get in there, try out the tool, see how you like it. It really, like you say, it sells itself. We don't do user licenses. There's no long-term commitments. So if you get in and you don't like it, that's pretty much it. You can move on. But we found that most people who get in and give it a try end up coming back for the second, third, fourth, fifth project.
Yeah, and the thing is like we said, it's the platform does everything that I've seen it needs to do for all the projects we've done. We've got projects where we're actually sharing data between multiple parties, and it's great. we actually, I'll tell you, I gave you the sense of the one big project. We've had projects just this week alone that we've had to throw data in, process the data, and get it out in very quick turnaround times. And the system has just performed flawlessly.
All right, well, that's awesome to hear. We're nearing the bottom of the hour here, so I'm going to wrap things up. Thank you very much for meeting with us, John, and talking about Chorus Consulting and walking us through that case. And thanks, everybody, for joining us, checking out the webinar today. We'll be sending a link to this video out to everyone. So if you weren't quite able to make it, you can review that on your own time. Did we have any questions, anything come in, Jess? No? All right. Well, that does it. Thanks, everybody.